Welcome back, everyone. Last week, we did an amazing project. We modified an AI agent called Claude Dev and swapped its prompts so that it's no longer a software development agent and instead became Claude Attorney, something that can go and do legal research, write memos, write contracts, etc. Now, that last video, we broke down exactly how Claude Dev works and how AI agents are different from chatbots. Today, what I'm going to do is give you a very quick summary, but also elaborate on the steps of how to achieve that and what exactly we did. Now, last time we were doing it unscripted, so it was a bit messy. And since then, I have continued to build onto Claude Attorney. And so this video is going to be a bit more of a how-to rather than our standard unscripted coding session. Now, first of all, giving you a very quick, brief overview. AI chatbots are very different from AI agents. Chatbots are there for chatting. They give you single responses back. You ask it a question like, can you tell me, can you fix my grammar for me? Can you write a privacy policy? It's able to do some of those things. But an AI agent instead is able to plan ahead, be proactive, make changes in its plans, and use different tools available to it. Now, this example gives you a bit more concreteness, and let me zoom in so you can read through it. I gave it a task. Notice that it isn't a question. I told it my client, Agentic, asked me to write a memo about the new COSA bill and what it means for their business. Can you help me write an email response back addressing their question? So, scrolling back up to the top, what it did was it created a plan and asked me to approve along the way to execute on its plan. Its plan involved first scouring my available files on the computer. Now, this is a proof of concept. Admittedly, it's a little bit artificial because I have these telltale sign files right there. Agentic business profile doesn't usually come as clean as that. But nevertheless, Claude had found their business profile, their email correspondences. Then it used the tools available to it to search Google, then go into specific websites, and also repeat some of these steps until it was satisfied to finally create a memo talking about COSA that's specifically tailored to this fictional Agentic. That's what we did. We modified an AI agent that was meant to write code that will go into your code base, make changes, and just change the prompting a little bit so that it becomes Claude Attorney. You can, of course, change this for other professions as well. I can imagine that if you give it some tools to understand and read Excel files, you can change it into Claude Accountant. You might change him into Claude Writer, Claude IT support. There could be many, many ways you can leverage this agent. Now, again, this is a proof of concept because it is tied to VS Code, which, most attorneys, I assume, aren't using this. But what I wanted to show you is how we did this. So I am going to come back to GitHub and give you the project for today. When I first did this was a number of releases ago. Probably 1.50. And the author of this library has continually built features into it. I will tell you that one of the key ones right here is the ability to read PDF and docx files. That's very huge, so I don't have to read text files and markdown files only in my legal setting. It also has added the ability to use Google Gemini, which I have always found did better in legal analysis than OpenAI or Claude. And finally, the other one that is very useful is at URL. This is a bit different. This has been a few weeks since I last tackled it. Um, but if you take a look at the pull requests, I did submit these new features as well. So I did submit a search Google and fetch web page content tools. So what I'm going to do is talk to you very specifically about how we can modify the prompts, add tools, and all while updating to the latest code base because I didn't manage to contribute into this. Okay, so what I've done is open up the folder in VS Code. I downloaded 1.90, the source code, right from the page. And so right here, assets, unzipped it into a folder on my computer. Now, if you follow these steps, they are slightly different than what is on the page. And actually, I found that this was not complete. So instead of cloning the repository, I just downloaded it. I opened the project in VS Code manually, but of course we are going to need to install all the dependencies. So I have opened command prompt. I am going to go to the folder that I have unzipped. And finally, I should run this npm install all. Okay, this will take a few minutes because it's downloading all the packages that are referenced in this package.json file. But while we're waiting, I'm just going to start changing Claude Dev into Claude Attorney. And you're going to want to do this in two places. So Claude Attorney, or rather two files. In the package and package lock, you can see that the author forgot to update this one. And finally, just for my own sanity, I know that it uses a robot icon. I'm just going to switch it to a law icon so that I know I recognize it in the sidebar. Now, of course, Claude Dev is going to show up everywhere throughout your project. So if you just do a search on the side, you could start changing all the text, all the references. This is just important because it shows up on the icon on the side. Now, while we're waiting, the reason, or rather, let's go through the package really quickly. The biggest file in this project is claudedev.ts in the source folder. If you click into this, we went through this in great detail in the previous video, and we're going to have to play around with it again today. First of all, it has a very extensive prompt explaining that you are now Claude Dev instead of Claude Attorney, a highly skilled attorney with extensive knowledge in many jurisdictions and areas of law. The capabilities and rules and such are all very much geared towards software developers. And of course, it's all written in kind of plain, simple, easy to read English. So you could change it however you want if you want to build Claude Accountant. If you scroll down further, this is where the magic of Agentic AI comes in. These tools allow it to then go off to a website to execute commands, to read files, etc., etc., etc. This first area is where it describes it in plain English, again for the benefit of Claude or the AI provider. These are descriptions, descriptions of what the inputs are, and so on. So write to file, writes content to a file. Very easy to understand. You're probably going to want to shift that language slightly so that it's less software developer based. Finally, if we actually search write to file as just one of many tools, you're going to see that it triggers this function, write to file, in camel case, and this is where the magic comes in. And we could just shoehorn in an additional function, an additional tool, and we're going to do that in a moment. I am just going to finish this up because there are three additional commands that you want to use. This is not in the documentation, but I have found it really important to do. So we're going to do npm run build webview. And the reason we need to do this separately is because this source is the main project, but there's a separate piece, the webview, which is how the extension looks, where the buttons are, where the settings are saved. All of those things are in WebView, whereas the nitty-gritty of the AI agent is in source. And so we have to build these pieces along the way. And to do that, I'm going to run these three commands to actually finish the building process before running it through. This will get us to actually running Claude Dev as it exists. But what we're going to do is also make some changes to add features. So way back when, I had pushed a change to the main project, adding web capabilities. Now, I gave it two new features, which is fetching web page content, which is now in 1.90. This is the inspect site feature. And the next one is searching Google. This is still not implemented. So we're going to very quickly implement it with the existing code I have. It's not to show you exactly how it's all built out, but it's to show you how you can build additional tools. As you say develop this for a workplace or for somewhere else, you're going to want to put all sorts of new tools that are specific to you. So for example, it might integrate with an API for some enterprise software. It might do something else that I can't even imagine. It might search Bing or some other search engine. And you might go into Justicia or some other specialized database and search there for answers. But for now, we have Google. And we're going to reference this a bit. Now, it looks like we've changed a lot of files, but what I did was actually go into the settings and allow people to put in their own API and search engine ID keys into the settings. So we're not going to do that because it just adds a lot. You're going to have to keep the state passed on to multiple files. And so this this Google API key keeps showing up in different places. And it was really painful to do. What we're going to do is just hard code it into our code way at the bottom. Okay, so the builds have finished. And I just want to show you that it can be run right now first. So we'll go in, we'll run, we'll start debugging. There will be an initial error, but that's fine. We're going to debug anyways. And you're going to see that we have these scales right here. I have some history apparently already, but you can see that we have our scale, we have Claude Dev. I kind of wish it had a different name right now, but we could start asking questions. Say, hello world again as another test, and it's going to make the API request, and hopefully in 3, 2, 1, we have an answer right here. It's still very much geared towards software development right now. Not surprising because we have not really made any changes. Okay, so We're going to close these two package files. We're not going to need them anymore. And what we're going to do, this is too zoomed in for me to work. We're going to show you, well, we're going to show you how to add tools, but I'm going to change the system prompt very quickly at the top first. You are great at drafting contracts, writing policies, and sending memos to clients. Just give it more of a flavor. Of course, all of this is still very geared towards users, towards software development. But let's go back to changes that I have made. And we're going to go to the very top of the Claude Dev one. So first and foremost, we're going to take this interface, and we're also going to use Axios. This is a package that allows you to interact with the internet. So we're going to need this. I created an interface for search results for my own sanity. We're going to scroll down, and we're going to take this description of search Google. And we're going to go back down this list, and I think I'm going to put it in front of this inspect site. You're going to see a red squiggly line in the name because you need to declare these tools. So we're going to go into the shared folder, into tools, and these are the tool names. Oops. Let's put it up in front. Now, I never really know where the pipe is. There we go. We'll save this, and the error has disappeared. Remember, this is all in plain English, so you can adjust this however you want. Next bit is we are going to want, let's go inspect site, and we are going to put in the function. Okay. Google, okay. So we're going to take front part of this function and put it in here. So tap. Now, because we're not passing this through, I'm just going to call this placeholder key. And of course, I am not going to share those, but I will input it before we run the tool. Now, what you're going to find is that since 1.5 to 1.9 now, they have changed what is the expected response. So it's now a promise with a Boolean and a tool response instead of the past. So this is one of the reasons why none of this really quite matches, because in the past, you just returned a string. So I'm going to come back and use this. Now error string is going to be right here. And this will solve the problem. Going to replace. All right, let's do this first. And just replace the messages with the correct error message. So that is a bit tedious. Just wait for me through this. And we have one more error to deal with afterwards. We have this one. This is the one where it should actually work. I think this is how we want to deal with it. Tool response with images. Nope, that's not it. Huh. Okay. We'll just take the whole thing, come back to the error, return. So true means it's a success. We don't need images, so we'll take this out. And then we will put formatted results. So again, the point isn't to give you exactly how to do this because the idea is you'll build different tools for yourself, but this is how I might implement a search Google feature. We're going to go back here and redo those 3 commands. So I'll exit out of this one. We'll rebuild the web view. We'll have to rebuild the next ones. What you really want to do as well is modify the capabilities. And so I am going to come back up here. And I have a handy dandy explainer right here for Google search. Right here. Next one. This will just take a second, so we'll be patient. Perfect. So now it knows it's a lawyer. It has added the search tool as an actual tool, part of its prompt and also part of its list of tools. So we should be able to trigger a Google search at this point.
To find info about something, just ask. You can say something like, how long is the Amazon River? Or, to find info about something, the mic's off. You can say something like,
I have too many devices with the AI assistant. So, anyways, we're back now. And I am going to ask it to search Google. Can you search? Oh. Okay, this was dumb. I forgot to add the placeholder. So I'm going to move this off screen very quickly. Find my placeholder key and put in my placeholder stuff. Okay, and then we'll go up. Now, can you do a Google search for Paris Olympics 2024? And it's going to send out an API request. It's going to search Paris Olympics 2024. Oh no. That did not quite work. So, I think I have to rebuild it. Just give me one moment. All right, let's wrap up this file. I forgot one extra little piece here, which is the execute tool function. I forgot to put this in, and so it kept running into an error of it doesn't even have the tool to search Google. So now that I can execute it with search Google, we will just run this again. And finally, can you do a Google search and find me everything you know about the Nintendo Switch 2? There have been some recent leaks, so hopefully it might be able to reference it. So you can see these are the results. It was able to find some results. Now it is just very quickly giving me the summary of what it's found. This video has gone longer than I thought. There's actually quite a few moving pieces. What I wanted to do, and what I leave you with as an assignment, I suppose, is to actually go through this and modify the prompt. I wouldn't do this manually, it's pretty long, but you could throw it into Claude and just say, instead of a software developer, it is now a legal assistant. How would you make these changes? And you should get something that is pretty good. Anyways, I hope you have found that useful and awesome because it really does make a huge difference. I have gotten it to just modify and change subleases, privacy policies, and such in a very natural way. And I want to see this AI agent get improved, of course, on the Claude side, but also these tools to be built up, not just for software developers, but for everyone else as well. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope you subscribe, and I'll see you next week with yet another project. Bye.